What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chad Arms, a.k.a. Chatty Bobby.
And my name is Tony, a.k.a. Friday the 14th.
And this is Over the Top with Chad and Tony.
That's us.
Good dish.
Episode 3.
We did 3 of these. We haven't gotten canceled.
Yes, right.
Is gotten a word? I
don't know.
Either way, what are we talking about today, Tony?
Today, we are getting into our favorite childhood movies.
Yeah, favorite movies we grew up on, childhood favorites, whatever you want to call it.
All the same thing.
We want to say thanks to each and every one of y'all that have supported the podcast so far. The responses that we've been getting and the engagement we've been getting on the first 2 episodes has been dope, and we really appreciate y'all for that.
Yeah.
The podcast is available on all podcast formats. The link's in the description. So if y'all aren't able to check out the video version as much, you can always dive over to Spotify or
anytime
Apple,
you want to listen to it multiple times.
Whatever it's called. Yeah, just put it on repeat and piss everybody off in your house.
It's great stuff. But yeah, I'm really surprised that a lot of people were as big of fans of baseball movies as they were. I thought it kind of be, I mean, the timing of it was great with baseball season coming out and everything, but I didn't realize that as many people loved baseball movies as they were.
It was more than I thought. Like we're getting just as good of a response from that one as the gangster movie one. Yeah. So I think this one will do well too because it's such a broad subject as far as everybody's got movies that they really loved as kids. Some of them hold up, some of them don't. That's kind of how it goes, though.
Yeah.
But we're gonna kind of just bounce back and forth between. We've got movies listed. We'll dive into those. But is there anything from the last episode you need to put a bow on, or kind of tie up any loose ends?
I think we did get we didn't touch on For Love of the Game last episode. That was a baseball movie we didn't touch on.
Shout out Taylor.
Yeah, shout out Taylor. Yeah. It's not up there on my list. Uncle Kev's in that one.
He was a baseball movie acting some bitch.
He's I think it's Cal State Fullerton. He's like a big donor to their college baseball program out there.
Fun fact.
Yeah, he's a huge baseball fan in general. Yeah. But it's just it's more of a love story than a baseball movie to me. Right. He's a pitcher and all that stuff. There's very few baseball scenes in it, but little fact in that one, John C. Reilly is his catcher in that movie.
Shout out to Cal Naughton Jr.
Yep.
Shout out to Dale Dovak, dude.
Bingo.
We're going to be diving into those at some point,
yes,
whether it's favorite comedies or favorite Will Ferrell movies or whatever.
Yeah, there may be an episode on just John C. Reilly.
Yeah, because dude's got some bangers in the tuck.
Yeah, he's a lot of movies that you didn't realize that he was in. That he has smaller roles that he's been a part of.
Yeah. So
how do you want to do you want to start from like hit him with like the bangers right from the get-go, like our top ones, or do you want to like build up?
However you want to do it. We can just kind of start of like when you was growing up. I'll let you kick it off. Like, what do you first remember about being, as far as movies go, that really just that you got hooked on as a kid? It may not be your favorite as a kid, but like what do you? Well,
what stands out to me, I was a big comic book nerd as a kid too. I loved Batman, Ninja Turtles, all that stuff was big on me, and baseball and all that stuff too. But I had a whole nerd side to me. Yeah. And in 1989, when Batman came out,
Michael Keaton
Batman, total game changer on everything. I can still remember it's called Slaughterhouse out in Hermitage, Tennessee. Yeah, it's a haunted house now theater, but that's where I went and saw 89 Batman. That's where I went and saw 90 Ninja Turtles. But when 89 Batman came out, and that Christmas, total game changer for me as a kid.
That's dope.
I remember it's the first time it took like it came out in 89. I was 6 when it came out, and it was a total different Batman than the cartoons as a kid, and as Adam West Batman.
Different look, different vibe altogether.
Totally different tone too. Darker. Tim Burton was the director of it. Jack Nicholson plays the Joker. It was rated PG at the time. That would be almost a borderline R movie nowadays, probably.
Now, the way that the rating systems used to be. They used to show full frontal nudity in movies, and they were PG.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now, like, it's PG-13 if somebody says fuck.
Yeah.
Once. It's so different now. Go ahead.
But yeah, 89, that one stuck out. But when 1992, when Batman Returns came out, that one hit even harder for me because I had to have everything when that movie came out.
Yeah, the merch that they had rolling out with 89 Batman, dude.
I think
as far as just the merchandise in general, like across the board.
Yeah, and it did so well. They pushed Batman Returns even more because that's when you had like I think it was the Taco Bell cups, the plastic. That's remember when movies used to come out in the day, you'd get the themed cups from the fast food.
If I can find a picture, we'll flash them on the screen.
I had the cups back. I can't remember if it was Taco Bell or McDonald's. It was one of the two. I think it was McDonald's.
Yeah.
But you had the Catwoman cup, you had the Penguin cup, you had a couple different Batman cups back in the day. Just how they threw it in your face, and as an 8-year-old kid, you're just like, give me more. I want everything.
Everything Batman, yeah.
But yeah, 89 Batman and Batman Returns, right there at the top of childhood movies for me. That stuck out the most.
Yeah, I would say for me, again, I talk about this movie all the time, but it's one of my favorite movies forever, and that's why. It's because it's Teen Wolf. Because like I've said on like I guess on this channel before, I've talked about it. My grandmother and grandparents, they used to have my dad's parents. We would go there every couple of times a month, and stay the night over there and stuff. They had a VHS library, and it was all like with the long or the extended play tapes where you could do like 6 hours on They'd have 3 movies, just randomly recorded movies from like the movie channel, because it was when HBO and Cinemax were like premium channel. I guess they still are.
Yeah.
But it was like a big deal.
It's a huge deal. Cinemax. Yeah. Huge deal.
So they would just let me pick, and then there were certain ones I couldn't watch because they were R-rated, but then I got to where I was finding them on accident, right? Yeah. Teen Wolf's one of the first ones I remember. Because Teen Wolf came out in, I think, 85.
Yeah.
But I didn't find it till about 88 or 89. I was 5 or 6. And I just thought it was the coolest movie ever because I love basketball.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was a werewolf playing basketball, I just thought was, hilarious. I liked Michael J. Fox.
For Back to the Future. Did you see I'm assuming probably Back to the Future, probably maybe before Teen Wolf, maybe, as a kid?
Maybe, but I don't really remember. I'm sure that I did somewhere on TV, but I don't remember it like I do Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
But I would say that one was the first one, and honestly, over the top, bro.
Really?
Because like I've told you,
oh yeah,
for the longest time, bro, I didn't even see the Rocky movies until like 2013.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
So I'd always saw Over the Top, and I was like, dude, this is great. He's driving a truck and arm wrestling and like
just going around, wrestling people. Bull Hurley.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all come full circle now because the name of the podcast is
Over the Top. It's just,
but I'd say those two off rip would be like the first two that I remember early on. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Another one that I didn't even have listed, but I can throw it out there. Mr. Mom was another one.
Really? Yes. Great. Another Michael
Keaton. Yep. But I remember my mom loved that movie. So when she would stay home with us, she was staying home with us. I'd watch that because she'd watch it.
Yeah.
But those are the two main ones: Teen Wolf and Over the Top. Probably.
Let's see, going right from Batman, Ninja Turtles. Mm-hmm. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was probably bigger to me as a kid than Batman was.
Yeah.
Just because every day, as a kid, the cartoons came on every day when we got out of school,
and it was more geared towards kids.
The cartoons was it, but the movie itself, especially the 1990 movie, it went almost that darker route with it as well.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing the New Line Cinema logo. The new line. Every time as a kid, every time I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, it's a new Ninja Turtles movie! It's the Ninja Turtles movie!"
For sure, dog. That New Line Cinema.
Every time I saw that logo, I would immediately think Ninja Turtles, and
I think Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
which we'll get to.
That's coming too.
That's another one. Like now we're looking at I'm like 10 or 11, but go ahead. You got.
Just Ninja. The whole I had the Playmates toys as a kid, which were the cartoon versions, but. Yep. I remember once again. My grandpa took me to see that movie in theater, and it was just mind-blowing moment for me, which, like I said, the first one is darker when you go to Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah.
That one's a little bit more playful. It's more kid-related and all that stuff, which you get Kevin Nash in that one, a young Kevin Nash.
You definitely do. Shout out Kevin Nash, dude. We met him in person.
Yeah.
We did that, we did that meet and greet, what was it called? Was it Days of the Dead or
no? That one was Scarefest. The first time
Scarefest, and I got him to sign one of the DVDs I had. He had just came back from smoking a joint.
Yes,
and
blazed.
It was great.
And he called us the Blue Limit Shoulders.
Shoulders, yeah, we were Blue Limit Soldiers at the time, and he called us "Shut up, Blue Limit Shoulders." And I wasn't going to tell him he said it wrong because he would have choke slammed me.
But another actor we'll probably get into the little known fact. I'm sure a Ninja Turtles fan will know about this, but. He's a guy we'll get into multiple times in this episode, but Corey Feldman was a voice actor in Ninja Turtles. Can you guess which one he played?
I'm not gonna guess because you already told me, and it'd be cheating. So but if you would have had me guess, because I haven't seen the movie in a long time, I'd say Michelangelo.
No, he's the voice, the worst Ninja Turtle there is. I hate to ruin anybody's day.
Ruffle him up, dude.
Donatello is the worst Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, dude.
Nobody likes Donatello.
You're a Leonardo guy.
I'm a Leonardo guy.
I would say if I had to pick, Michelangelo would be mine. But see, the thing about it with me and Ninja Turtles was I wasn't really into them like that. Yeah. My brother was obsessed with Ninja Turtles.
I had all the toys. I had the sewer.
He did too. And he had the little thing that would shoot the pizzas out.
Oh, yeah. The little car that had the little pizza. I forget what the
little truck. And then I remember, see if you remember this. Do you remember when Burger King sold the VHS tapes?
Oh, yes.
Of the cartoons?
Yes.
He would, whenever we would go with our grandparents, they'd take us out to eat and stuff. You could buy them for like $4.
Yeah,
I don't know
cheap.
what it was. But he would buy all of them. Whenever they had. I remember that being a thing with Ninja Turtles. But I was more, at that time, I was into G.I. Joes, collecting them when I was a kid, like before that. But by the time Ninja Turtles came out, I was already on to collecting cards.
I gotcha. Yeah.
So and like baseball cards, like that was all I thought about.
Yeah, see, I had my nerd and sports side to me. Yeah. I had my comic book nerd toys, and then I had the baseball cards as well. Yeah. I dabbled in both.
No, for sure. And then like Ninja Turtles, you're talking about Corey Feldman.
Yes.
One of the first horror movies and we both talked about this.
Yes, we both talked about
Lost Boys.
Great for what, 1987?
Yeah, Lost Boys. Again,
Kiefer Sutherland.
I mean, such a great cast in that movie.
Oh.
You had Kiefer Sutherland in that. You had Jason Patrick in that.
The music was so great. And then Corey Haim in
that? Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman, I don't know the other dude's name, but they were the Frog Brothers.
The other Frog brother.
And then that wasn't the first. I love Lost Boys. It's still to this day. If you said, Chad, what's your favorite horror movies? If you did top 10, because I'm sure we'll do countdown.
Oh yeah.
Lost Boys is in my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time, for sure. But again, that movie still to this day holds up. I just watched it recently once the 4K came out, and it's still so great.
It hits every 80s vibe that you could want,
all the way down to dude playing the saxophone.
Yes, the scene that stuck out to me as a kid that terrified me the most in that movie is when they're all partying on the beach and everything.
Yeah,
and the Corey Haim and they're up in the tree watching them, and then they come down on top of it, and it's just the slaughter right there on the beach when Sutherland and all that come down on them.
Yeah.
That part is when he bites the dude on top of the head.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That scene stuck out, terrified me.
When they're in the car and they rip the hood off the car?
Yeah.
Oh, bro. Because it didn't show a lot of stuff then. Like up to that point of the movie, you do see, but the way it was shot was great. I love the opening scene where the security guards walk into that long ass parking lot to his car, and then you just see him swoop down on him. That shit was fire, dude.
And the first time I come across the Lost Boys was back in the days. If you grew up in the South, you had on your cable networks, you had TNT and you had TBS.
Yep.
The Turner, especially, that's where we watched all the Braves games as kids.
Yep. Saved by the Bell. Everything came on at 5 after.
Yep. Exactly. And
which was an interesting.
That's back when we were kids too. You could watch a movie on cable and it would actually show what's going on instead of cutting parts out.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah, because that part where he bites the dude on top of the head in Lost Boys, that part sticks out to me so much. Yeah. So much, and I remember seeing it from TBS and TNT, and we didn't have any of the movie channels and all that stuff. I had a VCR. We had a VCR at the house, and I had the '89 Batman movie on VHS, and then I had '90 Ninja Turtles on VHS. Yeah. But most of my movie watching came from TBS and TNT back in the day.
Yeah.
That's where my love for Jean-Claude Van Damme came from, because he was prominent on the TBS and TNT days back in the 90s.
No, for sure. The TNT and TBS both, just aside from the movie stuff growing up, as far as, TBS was diehard Braves fan, watched all the Braves games. I even would watch the Atlanta Hawks play.
Yeah.
And then I would go over to WGN and I didn't miss the Chicago Bulls game.
Yeah. Yeah, we got all the Cubs games.
Games, White Sox. You got to watch those on WGN.
Yep.
Listening to Harry Carey. Hi. But yeah, man. I know some other ones. Like I know another one. Speaking on Corey Feldman. You had Lost Boys in the '80s, but then you had Goonies, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, bro.
Classic.
I remember seeing Goonies. Probably, and it was like not. I would say I was 7 or 8 years old. This was after I saw Teen Wolf, but that's another one that I found on that one of those random VHS tapes. You know what I'm saying? And me and Mel just rewatched that one, and of course we both seen it many times, but it's so good, man.
Now, I know you grew up in the country where you're from and everything.
Yeah.
Well, after watching the Goonies, did it make you like want to go searching for like a treasure map and everything, like go out in the woods and?
If I wasn't such a pansy, then yeah, I would. I'm just scared of everything, but yeah, it makes you want to go on an adventure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Let's see, like
they get you all hype about that for sure.
See, like Rambo 2 did that for me as a kid.
I
remember everybody, especially our timeline, you'd get the Sears Christmas catalogs in.
Yep. And
they'd have everything in there.
Oh, and you go wish list, yeah.
Oh, your wish, and you just go through circle. And I remember Rambo 2 coming out as I saw it. It came out when we were real young, but I saw it when we were kids.
Yeah.
But especially, you had to have a fake bow and arrow, and you had to have a fake gun. And me and my next door neighbor, we had a creek next to our house. Mm-hmm. And we would get off the bus, and I'd run inside, throw on my camo stuff. You had to have your red bandana.
Yep.
And we'd play Rambo out in the creek every day as kids. And that's
dope.
That's what movies did to me as a kid. It's like, oh, I want to be Rambo. I'm going out here in the creek and shooting everybody.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It made you want to go out and act out. I did the same thing, except instead of like me, it would be like, I would watch a basketball movie or a basketball game, and I'd go out and I would shoot ball, and I would announce like I was playing the game. And same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just playing it out.
You're just playing out as a basketball player instead of Rambo. But another one that Corey Feldman was in from that time frame, besides Goonies, it being one of the greatest movies ever, you had The Burbs.
Oh, gosh.
Which is another one of his that is such a dope one. One of the last good Corey, I know he did the voice for Donatello in 1990, but like Burbs to me was like
the downfall,
the very end of like, because he even goes on, he's in the interviews talking about how he wasn't all the way there, like he was on and off drugs during the filming of that,
and other issues he had.
Right, Burbs was great. Of course, Tom Hanks and and Bruce Dern, who's great in that movie. But that movie still to this day holds up. One of my favorite Tom Hanks movies. Another one that I grew up on.
That's so good.
Yeah, but The Burbs, License to Drive is another one that I used to love. That was a Corey Feldman, Corey Haim banger. Have you seen that one?
I've seen it. It's been a long time since. I didn't come across The Burbs till later on. I just recently watched The Burbs probably here in the last 5 to 6 years.
So you and Burbs are like me and like Rocky or something.
Yeah, exactly. I've always heard great things about it, but I was just late to the party, and I was late. Man. And same with License to Drive, I was late to that one and everything.
Yeah, and see, License to Drive still is one. If we compiled like a list of favorite '80s movies, License to Drive is in that. It's in that. List for me.
I don't think I'd be able to make a top 10 list of the 80s.
No, if you had to narrow it down to like, but just saying it's one of my favorite from that time frame.
Oh, yeah.
Also, another one that I watched all the time growing up was a Fred Savage banger and Luke Edwards, The Wizard.
Oh yeah, we talked about that last episode.
Yeah, we did
briefly.
We did briefly talk about that. Yeah, of course. They put us up all on game on how to do the codes on Mario 3.
Yep.
Which was great.
And everybody wanted the Power Glove after that movie, too.
For sure. Lucas was a bitch, though,
he's
bro.
A little,
he thought, man. Like, and
grow. Come on.
And all he wanted to do was go to California to put that lunchbox in that dinosaur doll. That's all he wanted to do.
That's it.
Y'all just
ain't
kept
asking for
fucking
much.
Yeah, and he just had to go. Y'all went and exploited him, and you made money off of him being a Rain Man at video games.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember that power glove like instantly. As soon as seeing that, it's like, whoa, that's game changer right there. I need one, but I never got one.
No, I don't think we ever did too. I had a buddy that had the pad.
Like the Olympics. Yes, I remember that.
And I just remember being like, "This is cool. You got to run and shit." Like, I just want to use the controller.
See, I never had. We always had Nintendo, and then I never had a Sega or anything like that. So,
yeah,
unfortunately, it was like always Mario Kart at our house, and the sweat from Mortal Kombat, and we didn't get blood on that one.
Oh yeah, I remember you had to have a code.
No, not even. Couldn't even have a code for Super Nintendo. It was just sweat.
You couldn't.
No,
it was just sweat.
It was just Sega. Sega, you could put in the cheat code.
Sega didn't get no fucks.
No,
dude.
Sega was the better console back in the day. It beat Super Nintendo's ass.
Yeah, well, see, and then like talking about the Wizard, which Fred Savage was another one in that time frame that had a bunch of like dope little movies. He had that one, and then we had Little Monsters.
Oh yeah,
did you watch that one?
Yeah, not as often, but I came across it with Howie Mandel in that one and everything.
Yeah, shout out to Howie
Mandel. Before he became a germaphobe.
Went on to be just this boss of a game show host.
Yeah, deal, but like, no deal.
And he's still a funny like comedian now. But the that movie was dope. I've watched it recently in the last 2 years. Whenever I got that Blu-ray release,
yep.
It's still cool. It doesn't hold up as much. And what's funny, we were talking about the Burbs. Fun fact: the dude that plays the big like ogre dude in that movie, is Art from the Burbs. Fun fact, dude. Stupid, useless knowledge.
Here's my ding.
Rain Man in the building. Did you ever see? Then back then too, you had the whole body switch like wave that was going on. Did you ever see Vice Versa?
No, I never saw Vice. No, that was one that I never watched.
Or Like Father, Like Son. Those are two other ones that I grew up on.
I remember you've always talked about those.
They're the same exact movie. It's just Like Father, Like Son is Kirk Cameron, who I can't fucking stand. You want to hear me rant about something? Kirk Cameron is dog shit.
Oh boy,
he is a dog shit actor. His sister is beautiful, Candace Cameron from Full House. Shout out.
That's his sister?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Fun fact: Kirk Cameron is a piece of shit. And I say, you heard it here first. Hot take: Kirk Cameron can't act his way out of a paper sack, and I fucking hate him.
I just learned something new today on that. I never knew that they were brother and sister.
Shout out to Squints in the background, just shaking his head. He knows what's up.
Man.
Yeah, shout out Kirk Cameron.
You just blasted him, and now you're shouting out.
I forgot. Fuck him. Who gives a shit?
Squints just totally set you up on that one.
There's your clip. Bam. But yeah, Vice Versa was Judge Reinhold and Fred Savage. Now I'm gonna be honest with you too. Fred Savage was a little shithead too.
Oh yeah,
he was annoying as fuck. Was he not?
Yeah, I was never really a big Fred Savage fan. He was never up there on my list of.
And I'll tell you something.
Tell me.
Wonder Years was. I'm gonna say hot take. Wonder Years was fucking overrated, dude.
I totally agree on that one.
I never really.
Except for Winnie Cooper.
No, of course, Winnie Cooper was everybody. Winnie Cooper was the bee's knees until Topanga came into play.
No. You are forgetting one very important person in between those though.
Who?
Kelly Kapowski?
Oh, hello. Of course.
How can you forget about Kelly Kapowski?
Okay. Kelly Kapowski was she was a firecracker.
Man, Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Hello. That was my first.
Sip this with my pinky.
Between Kelly Kapowski and DJ Tanner, man, they stole
Kimmy Gibbler didn't get no love.
Nah, fuck Kimmy Gibbler.
Kimmy Gibbler was a whore.
I hate Kimmy Gibbler. Annoying ass. She was always a cockblock to DJ.
She was. But Steve was a piece of shit, though.
Oh, God, get Steve.
Shout out to Comet, though. Comet held it down.
Comet was the ultimate G of that show.
He was the G.
He was the ultimate.
And we know how I feel about Joey Gladstone. Dave Coulier. We're not going to get into that. Y'all want to see a rant about that? Go to I Got Some Shit to Say the podcast and check that out.
What episode was that? That was early.
Oh, man, that was me, Squinson. Do what? It was the Joey Gladstone episode, but it was early on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's early on.
But
that's another TBS show right there. Another one that came on TBS was Full House.
Sure. Full House. And Full House was definitely, because I'm a middle child, so my sister was always, she kind of, when she was watching us, we had to kind of watch what she was watching.
Oh yeah, you had no choice.
Yeah, so she would watch Full House, and of course we watched it with her because we were young. But then it went to Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
We'd get home and watch Saved by the Bell every day.
Nothing beats old TGIF back in the day.
Oh, dude, such a lineup. You had Full House. You had Family Matters.
Yeah.
Step by Step.
Step by Step, dude.
You had, what was well, obviously Boy Meets World, but that was later.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
You had that short-lived The Dinosaurs was in there mixed in for a couple seasons.
Yeah,
I think there was only maybe 2 or 3 seasons in TGIF.
Shout out to Family Matters. Was you a fan of that?
I loved Family Matters, dude. Steve Urkel.
Yeah, dude. Reginald Bill Johnson's making a comeback. He's back to being in commercials now.
Yeah, he's TV dad now.
He's TV dad for sure. But yeah, going back to the Fred Savage stuff, like those movies were dope. And then you had like a lot of those creature like little monsters when that stuff started popping off.
Yeah.
You started kind of seeing a lot of that stuff in like the late 80s, early 90s, where it was still considered children's movies, but then there was kind of that vibe to it. But it didn't hold up as much as like some of the other ones we talked about.
Yeah.
What else you got on your little list?
Mine has a lot of action movies in it from back in the day. And one that sticks out to me too is Days of Thunder from 1990 with Tom Cruise on it. My dad was a huge NASCAR fan.
Shout out Cole Trickle for sure.
Yes, sir. And Rowdy Burns.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Raise Hell, Praise Dale. We were huge NASCAR fans back in the day. R.I.P. Dale Earnhardt. But when Days of Thunder came out, my dad had all the little die-cast cars of it. Tom Cruise, and then you had Nicole Kidman, which
Tony. Here we go, guys.
Okay, is it my rant turn now?
Yeah. How do you feel about Nicole Kidman, Tony?
Nicole Kidman may be a great person, but what?
That's a good start.
This is great. Yeah. Nicole Kidman, though, if you go to an AMC theater, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And her little monologue that she puts on before you watch a movie gets you so pissed off that you're just boiling red before you even see the movie. She's talking to nobody. She's like, oh, you can feel them. You can't feel shit. You're sitting there by yourself. Who are you talking to?
Dude,
you ain't talking to nobody with her glittery pantsuit on. Shut the fuck up.
So, bam, we had technical difficulties, guys. Tony went on such a rant that the computer fried.
Yeah, my bad.
So, Squints had to come out here and do his due diligence and magic and fix it.
One person I don't apologize is fucking Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Your fucking glittery pantsuit. Fuck you.
Oh, man, coming in hot.
Okay, I'm done.
And you said, look, before we realized that you fried the computer, did you say that she lives here now?
Yeah, she's another transplant here in town. So ain't she married to like Keith Urban now?
Maybe.
I think so.
If you saw her, would you voice any of those grievances that you voiced previously?
I'd say, hey, where's your fancy women's college basketball pantsuit that you're wearing that today and all glittery and everything? Are you going to go try to beat Tennessee in the national championship today?
R.I.P. Pat Summitt for sure.
Get out of here.
And I can vouch the feelings that Tony has. I can totally vouch for, because when me and Tony and the Viz went to see Creed 3.
Yep.
I got because I'm always a Regal dude because I have the Regal Unlimited pass because there's a Regal close to me. So I'm not used to the AMC buffoonery that's been going on with Nicole Kidman.
And I love AMC theaters. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I love AMC theaters.
It's just who you got.
It's Nicole Kidman that's that grinds my gears.
So
but back to Days of Thunder.
Yeah, go ahead.
Great movie. Love the movie.
Yeah.
Praise Dale, Raise Hell, all that good stuff. You got Robert Duvall drinking on his moonshine the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
You got Michael Rooker. Early Michael Rooker.
Yeah, before Walking Dead, when Walking Dead was good.
Yeah. And another little fact that we're going to throw in there, an early John C. Reilly in that movie as well. As part of the pit crew.
Yeah. Shout out to John C. Reilly, man. We're going to dive more into like the movies he's been in when we get to comedies. Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, Walk Hard, all them. Shout out to Dewey Cox, Walk Hard.
I love John C. Reilly. He's a great guy. Yeah. I don't know him personally. I'm sure he's a great guy, but
he may be a piece of shit, but hopefully not. You know,
I hope not.
Hopefully he's not a piece of shit.
I hope not. That'd suck if he was, though.
So give me what else you got going on? You got Days of Thunder. What else?
Days of Thunder. Another one that you could put in that TBS TNT category that I always watched. was Bloodsport. I was like I said earlier, I'm a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. Jean-Claude Van. Bloodsport is up there, but my number one from him is Lionheart. But Bloodsport came on more on the TBS days, and that's probably what I watched the most of. Shout out Crooked Eye Forrest Whitaker in that one.
Shout out to Unemployed Eye Forrest Whitaker, and shout out to the fart muffler that's driving through right now.
Yeah, but
go fuck yourself, San Diego.
The movie so great. You got Bolo Young playing Chong Li, like snapping dude's shins in half in that
shout out
one.
to the chant.
You got Jean-Claude just breaking bricks. You got, I forget what the big dude, the American dude, he's like breaking bricks with his forehead.
Hell yeah. But, I do that every Wednesday and Thursday night.
But Lionheart was another one that came on TBS that I was a huge fan of back in the day. He's like a pit fighter and all that stuff. And it used to be a hard one to find, but it hardly ever came on. But yeah, Lionheart. Masterpieces in a young Tony Wilson's mind.
Hell yeah, really nice, Clark. Now I was never really into like a lot of the action movies back then. I appreciate them a lot more now, but I was more into like the comedies and the sports movies. You know, in the sports movies, you got Blue Chips.
Oh man,
we need to do this at some point. There is so many dope ass movies that came out in the year 1994 that I didn't even really realize until we started doing the research for this episode.
Yeah, that's one thing. The early 90s, and once again, all the baseball movies, we got into those last week and everything. But you can throw these into there. But all those 93, 94, right there in that same timeline.
Same time frame, bro. Like Little Big League, but like going back to like the sports movies like Blue Chips. Absolutely love that movie because that was in the height of like I played basketball, baseball, and football at this time. I was still playing all three sports, but basketball is what I loved, man. I spent hours outside shooting ball. Yeah. And then I was collecting basketball cards, and that was around the time where Penny was a rookie.
Yep.
Shaq had only been in the league like 2 years at that point. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Neon Badeau and Blue Chips. Nick Nolte was great. You had appearance by the GOAT Larry Bird in there. But I thought that one was dope. And then another one that I watched growing up was The Program.
Yeah, right there.
It came out a couple years. I think that was
It's pretty much the same movie, just with different sports.
With different sports, yeah. But The Little Giants was another one.
Oh, man.
Ed O'Neill, shout out to Al Bundy. It was just cool seeing Ed O'Neill in, like, that kind of a role. And then Rick Moranis. That's when Rick Moranis was
You're hot to trot, but you still got to squat.
Yeah. Icebox. Like that was a fire
beast, man.
Shout out to the annexation of Puerto Rico too.
Oh God,
they had that play in the tuck, boy.
Well, what about Madden coming there on the Madden bus with Bruce Smith?
R.I.P. John Madden. Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith's in that movie. Let me see your mean face. He throws the Alka-Seltzers in his mouth, and the little kid.
Shut up, Bruce.
The little kid with the stickum on his hands. Where you remember when he gets his hands stuck to his chest?
Yeah, dude. I need to go back and rewatch.
Was such a great movie.
Yeah, it was great, dude.
God, like you said, just the early '90s were just a plethora of great.
Dude, great word,
memories.
Tony. I can't spell it, but it sounds good.
I can't spell it. Don't ask me to spell it. I don't even know if it's a real word.
It's definitely a real word. You used it right. I just don't know how if you said Chad, spell it, or I'm going to shoot you in the back of the head. Go ahead and write my funeral song. Because I don't know how to say it.
I really miss my homie. Would that be
90? We'll work with that. 94, guys. Look, let me just break something down for you. Jim Carrey in 1994.
Oh my gosh, yeah, another prime example. Yes,
Dumb and Dumber was 94. Ace Ventura 1 was 94. And The Mask was all released in 94. Now, granted, The Mask is just kind of, it's cool, but like I don't really like The Mask like I liked all the other ones.
But that's what put Jim Carrey on
for
the map.
For sure.
I mean, he was great in The Living Color.
No, yeah, that's where I found out about him. You know, with Fire Marshal Bill and the bodybuilder Vera DeMilo, I think. Yeah, just so great. But like Dumb and Dumber, I've watched Dumb and Dumber more than I've ever watched any movie. It's it's not even close. Like I still quote the movie to this day. My pets' heads are falling off. Big gulps, whelp, see you later.
Yeah.
Ace Ventura the same way.
Hungry fella.
Yeah. We still say hungry fella every time we see a dog. We say hungry fella.
It doesn't matter what the dog can just be walking down the street
hungry.
And say, hungry fella.
To the Paul Wilson video
clips have you a little snack.
Back and forth to each other in the group chat of dogs that we see out in the wild, and we're just like hungry fella.
But
greatness, man.
It's unreal. And then when Nature Calls came out in 95?
Yeah, 95. Yeah.
So I mean, Jim Carrey was just he jumped on a rocket and just took off after.
No, for sure, dude. He definitely did. And then not to mention, in that time frame, now you're looking at about 96, probably. If I had to guess, you maybe can look it up quicker than me. Yeah. Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, that's the Adam Sandler stuff started coming about.
Yeah.
In that time frame, like the 94, 95, 96 time frame. It feels like it's around that time.
Yeah, and those, as a kid, those were enjoyable. But going back and watching some of the early Adam Sandler stuff, those don't hold up to me as, especially like Billy Madison is probably, no, not Billy, Happy Gilmore probably would be my favorite that holds up the best to me out of the early Adam Sandler stuff nowadays. Billy Madison,
it doesn't hold up as much. No. I still think Happy Gilmore is my favorite.
Yes, Happy Gilmore.
That was 96.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore, or Billy Madison was 95. But those two were definitely movies that I grew up on, though, like just to throw those in there. But Jim Carrey in the 90s, and fun fact, I know you've mentioned it before. You went, like, going back to Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
You've been to that where they
filmed that where they filmed Dumb and Dumber when they go to Aspen was filmed at the Stanley Hotel, which is a little fact is the hotel where Stephen King wrote The Shining. Yeah. They didn't the Shining movie, the Stanley Kubrick movie. I think that was filmed at the hotel up in Oregon. It's up in the Northwest somewhere. But you remember the TV miniseries that came out about The Shining?
Yeah, I remember. I never saw it, but I remember.
Yeah, that was filmed at the Stanley Hotel. They have I forget what they said. How many years in advance you got to book the room that Stephen King stayed in and everything. But yeah, it's. The bar is still there. It looks different, but they still have the We Landed on the Moon, the Man on the Moon newspaper clipping. That's still on the wall there in the hotel. Yeah. But yeah. Dumb and Dumber is probably. It's got to be in your. It's in the top 3 of comedies of all time.
Oh, it's my it's
for
my
our
favorite.
generation.
Yeah, it's my favorite. Another one that I think's funny that came around that same time frame was, and it's not Adam Sandler or Billy or Jim Carrey, but like Three Ninjas.
Oh yeah,
Three Ninjas was hilarious. Still to this day holds up to me. And granted, it's like the humor's kind of corny at some parts, but it's made for kids. But like hashtag Rocky Loves Emily. You had Tum Tum in there. Like the three like goons are the greatest part about the movie.
Oh yeah, and they're
so
bad. You would never hire them.
No, of course
to
not.
Take care of business for you.
No, not if you're trying TCB. You wouldn't definitely hire them. Now all the sequels, I remember the second one being okay, but then those other ones, then the one at the end that had Hulk Hogan and Jim Varney in it, High Noon and Mega Mountain. Never saw that one.
Well, speaking of Hulk Hogan, I know you were a wrestling fan growing up and all that stuff too. Growing up as a kid, who was your number one wrestler?
I was Hogan. I mean, to the point where, bro, like I remember writing a letter to Hulk Hogan. My sister helped me like figure out how to do it. I wrote a letter to Hulk Hogan whenever Earthquake sat on him on the Brother Love show.
Oh yeah,
and
it's the end of the world.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh my God, Hulk Hogan's he's dead." Write him so he can, write him. All the Hulkamaniacs out there, write Hulk Hogan. Here's the address. You can write him. Wish him well, and hopefully it'll help out. And I remember months later, I got like a postcard that it was just generic, like with an autograph. It was not. It was just.
Did you frame it? Or did you?
No, but I kept it for the longest time.
Yeah, it's just like the greatest thing because you actually thought it was from Hogan.
Yeah, because at that time frame.
Hogan was a superhero to us.
Oh, he definitely was, dude. Especially like that was 1990, 91.
Yeah.
I was like 6 or 7 at that time. When did No Holds Barred come out?
No Holds Barred came out, 89?
Okay, so which makes 89. Sense. Because that's when Zeus came over just to start doing he was a horrible wrestler. Shout out to Debo. Tiny Zeus Lister.
Yeah, R.I.P.
But
I know for a fact that's true.
No, there's no need for an over-under on that. That's R.I.P. Debo. But I used to watch. We couldn't afford the pay-per-views at the time because we just didn't. That was when pay-per-views was like $60.
Yeah,
And so I would watch the pay-per-views whenever my nanny and papa would take us to rent movies at Video Checkout, which ended up being Movie Gallery. I would rent the old pay-per-views then, and that's how I remember seeing Zeus on this with Macho Man and all that.
His haircut, the Z haircut.
He was a terrible wrestler, bro. He wasn't a wrestler.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, he wasn't a wrestler. But yeah, that one stuck out to me. Just being a Hogan fan, I loved watching that movie. Like the other movies, Suburban Commando, all those, I wasn't a fan of those. But seeing him actually being a wrestler in No Holds Bar was a standout for me in that one.
No, for sure. Okay, so I guess we can kind of pivot to this. One of my favorite actors, R.I.P., had a lot of movies that I grew up on. John Candy.
Oh, GOAT.
Uncle Buck is my favorite John Candy movie. I love The Great Outdoors. I think that one's great. I love Spaceballs. I think that one's great.
Yep.
I like Armed and Dangerous. I was late to the party on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like, I didn't watch that till like a little later, but I think that one's great.
It's a good one.
Who's Harry Crumb's great. But like Uncle Buck and Great Outdoors mainly were the two that I grew up on with John Candy. And then, of course, with John Candy,
you get all the little side roles that he was in so much stuff and just in his little side roles, from Vacation,
which is another one I grew up on. Christmas Vacation, obviously, too, but we're going to save that for like a Christmas episode.
Yeah, same with Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Of course, as kids, those were staples in our house of watching. As a kid, I could watch Home Alone and Home Alone 2 year round, but we're going to save those, just like the baseball movies, like we talked about those last episode. We're going to hold the Christmas movies for down the line, because we'll have a full-on Christmas episode, because we can get in a whole plethora of those that are so great. But Home Alone was a standout as a kid as well with John Candy. Polka.
Oh, polka, yeah, Whiskey Polka, Dama Hooji Polka, Polka Twist. And then he was in, did you mention Rookie of the Year?
No, I didn't.
He was the announcer in Rookie of the Year. And then you had movies like, there was other movies that he was in, but like, I didn't really like them as much, like your Summer Rentals and stuff like that. Those I didn't really like a whole lot. But John Candy, for sure, R.I.P. And, of course, Macaulay Culkin was in Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
But those were great. Another one that I grew up on was Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, yeah.
Weekend at Bernie's. Of course, I didn't come in 89.
Yeah, I was late to the party on that one. I didn't see that
Kaiser,
one until I was older.
That's when Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy were super popular at the time. And it's such a ridiculous movie, but my nanny and papa had the VHS of it, and my papa loved Weekend at Bernie's, especially when they're in the water on the boat and Bernie's dead body keeps hitting the the markers.
Yes.
And it was like the bells were going off.
Yeah.
He thought that was the funniest thing ever. Yeah. But yeah, Weekend at Bernie's was great.
I got one. Young Guns and Young Guns 2 were staples for me with the cast. And that one you had Emilio Estevez, and that one Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips in that one, in the first one, and then Christian Slater came on to be in part 2. But that was another one back in the days that was always what, because like I said, action movies were big. My dad loved action movies. I loved action movies. It was just, and those were like the perfect, like, it was a Western, but it was more action paced and everything. So Young Guns and Young Guns 2 were staples, always being played. Yeah,
for sure. And
it was a comeback to TNT TBS days.
Yep, I still need to watch those, man.
Have you never seen those?
I've seen Young Guns, but it's been a minute.
Yeah, Young Guns 2. I like Young Guns more than Young Guns 2, but I mean, just you look at the cast of that.
No, for sure.
You got Gordon Bombay being Billy the Kid.
Shout out to the Mighty Ducks. That's another set. But
that's another one. I didn't even think about that one. That is the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, for sure. And another one too that was big for me. And it's funny because I watched the fourth one before I even saw the other ones, because it was when I was a kid and I watched it on those recorded VHS tapes, was Police Academy 4.
Oh, wow.
Citizens on Patrol. Shout out to Steve Guttenberg and Larvell Jones. You had oh, dude, so many great.
What was the chick's officer? What was her?
Leslie Easterbrook's her name, but that was Callahan.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, I had the figures from I never even watched the cartoon, but I loved the movie so much.
You had to have figures.
Yeah,
I remember. I didn't have any of the figures, but I remember what they looked like and everything.
Yeah, and Michael Winslow was Winslow was the one that did the Larvell Jones.
Oh, okay.
And then you had Bobcat Goldthwait was in it. Super annoying, but those are just good, like, cornball, like, comedies. one is the best one, clearly, but like there's 7 of them. The first 5 are still watchable. 6 and 7 are not.
I didn't realize there was that many of the Police Academy.
There was a lot of Police Academy movies. Another one that I was big on when I was growing up was Mannequin.
I've never seen that one.
Oh,
That's
dude.
one I've never seen.
Mannequin's great, dude. Andrew McCarthy.
Oh, okay.
And you had chick from Sex and the City.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
No, not her.
The short-haired one.
Oh my, Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall was in it. I love that movie, dude. I mean, obviously it's ridiculous, the plot of it, but
that's one I've never seen.
Yeah,
what was the year on that one? It was mid-80s. I would say probably mid-80s.
If I had to guess, I'd say 88, but I'm gonna be off. Let's see. But that was another one that was dope. Like, and that was just part of one of 87. I was
okay.
But that was when Andrew McCarthy was super popular. You know, he was also in. He was in a lot of stuff back then, but he was in one of those John Hughes movies. I can't remember if it was 16 Candles or Pretty in Pink. I think it was Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, I think it's Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, but
what I'll grow off of you from 87 is I was never a fan of the cartoon nor the toy line as a kid, but absolutely loved the movie, and I think that's why I love the movie so much, was Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, you've talked about that one a lot with Dolph Lundgren.
Me and Jordan both have a soft spot for Masters of the Universe. Like I said, never watched He-Man as a kid or never played with any of the toys as a kid, but absolutely love the movie. It's a terrible movie. It doesn't, I mean,
yeah.
But I love it. It's just, it holds that little soft spot there. It's just one that we always watched.
Yeah, and another one for me that I was obsessed with, and I watched the show, and I had the merch, the doll, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's when Pee Wee Herman was
my cousin was a huge Pee Wee fan. He actually had a motorized, like, it was like the Power Wheel version of Pee Wee's scooter.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah. It had like all the mirror, it had all like the bells and whistles on it. It was like the Power Wheels version of Pee Wee's scooter.
Yeah, that Pee Wee's Big Adventure was 85. Of course, I didn't see it. I mean, it was later when I saw it, but that was big for me. Another one that was big for me that came out in 87 that I found out about later, Disorderlies with the Fat Boys.
Oh, yeah, you've always talked about that one.
Love Disorderlies.
Ever since I've known you, you've always talked about Disorderlies.
It's so great. It's so bad, but it's just one of those I watched growing up.
Yeah. That just,
you know, and then like you had movies kind of like later, like Heavyweights.
Yes.
Love Heavyweights. Still love Heavyweights, you know.
Hey, new kid, get the salami off my back.
Oh, dude, so great. You had Goldberg from Mighty Ducks that was in it. He played Josh Burnbow. Then you had Ben Stiller.
Yes.
Like Tony Perkis.
Jeez.
And his character is basically, his character from Dodgeball.
Yes.
Is Tony Perkis' character from Heavyweights.
Yeah.
Just looks different. Yeah. Same character, bro.
So great.
But that movie's hilarious.
As a
especially
kid,
for a Disney movie. Like
yeah, and how bad did you want to like live out that ending scene with the go-kart race?
Oh, yeah, man.
Dude, as a kid, it's like, oh my God, if I could just do that one time, that was just greatness.
Yeah, another one that I watched growing up, and it's terrible. The first one's much better, but I didn't have the first one on the tape. It was the sequel, Caddyshack 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude. Now, Caddyshack 1 is much better with Rodney Dangerfield, of course. Chevy Chase is in it a lot more. Caddyshack 2 is bad.
Well, it's like an over-exaggerated putt-putt game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's all it was. That's all it was. And then Chevy Chase was barely in it, you know. Yeah. But, of course, Chevy Chase was another one that I grew up, you know, with the vacation movies and Fletch.
Dan Aykroyd the groundskeeper in that one?
Well, no, yeah.
Because Bill Murray's the groundskeeper in the first one, right?
Yeah.
And then, Dan Aykroyd, okay.
That's
when he gets shot in the butt with the arrow, ain't it?
Yep. Suck out the poison. And then, was you a big Ernest fan?
Yeah, I liked Ernest, yeah. Ernest Goes. The two that stick out to me the most was Ernest Goes to Camp and Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah, see, well, those two I love, and then Ernest Goes to Jail and not Slam Dunk Ernest Saves Christmas.
Yes, Ernest Saves Christmas.
After those, the rest of them can go fuck
Another
off.
wrestler that's in movie is the Giant is in Ernest Saves Christmas. Well, you know when they're all in the when they're all in the all the Santa Clauses, and everything. The big Santa Claus in that one.
Yeah.
That's
Paul White.
That's Paul White.
How old? He was young. That was like
it was like early because I think Ernest Saves Christmas was like 92 or something.
Oh look, but that's crazy. I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure that's Paul White. I may be totally wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's Paul White in that movie.
Fun fact, dude.
He's not Captain Insano from The Waterboy. but
Ernest Saves Christmas was in '88.
Okay, it may not be Paul White then. I may have just totally pulled that out of my ass.
Hell yeah!
It is some wrestler that's in that movie.
Yeah,
it's a big name wrestler that's in that movie. So I may have just totally. Well, when the premiere comes on, it'll be in the live premiere who the wrestler is that we're talking about.
Hell yeah! Okay, we're almost at the end. Are you good over there?
I got like maybe one or two more, but you go ahead.
Well, so we've got another one that we can talk about that. I can't remember if you're a big fan of this, but I love this movie. I still do. One of my favorites. I think it came out in '87. Monster Squad.
Oh yes.
Monster Squad. Fat kid farted. Monster Squad is
Wolfman's Got Nards.
It's Wolfman's Got Nards, dude. It's not like Goonies is here.
Yeah.
Monster Squad's not, I mean, it's here though. Like I love Monster Squad. I just watched it like less than a year ago.
It holds up.
It still holds up, dude. Yeah. It's so good, man.
But it's like you could just at that time, it's just the horror version of Goonies. It's right there with Goonies.
No, for sure. It's just more horror, with the Universal monsters and shit. But like that one's dope. I was a big fan of course, obviously Mike Myers at like Wayne's World.
Oh yeah,
that was Wayne's World 1 was '92.
The Austin Powers movie. I had more fun with the Austin Powers.
No, me too. Well, and then, of course, at that point, like, because they came out right when we was in middle school.
Yeah, middle school and stuff. So I
guess that's still counts.
Raunchy. Like, that's what our raunchy humor for being middle school kids. We're like,
Mike Myers, like in the mid to late '90s, was really popping. Well, what else you got on?
One that sticks out to me that I watched that probably not a lot of people will either know or have seen is when I was a kid, my grandparents lived down in Florida, and that's right at the beginning of when the Sci-Fi Network came out. And they had that, and a movie would always come on the Sci-Fi Network called The Guyver.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it. It's a sci-fi action movie. Yeah. It's got some martial arts to it. It's about a kid that gets this super suit and he fights monsters. Mm-hmm. You got Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker's in that movie. Mm-hmm. You got Jimmy J.J. Walker playing one of the monsters.
Post or like before or after the...
Probably right in the middle of him going head first into the cocaine.
Okay. The cocaine.
You got Michael Berryman playing a monster in that one. We're
going to post a picture of Michael Berryman.
He's not a pretty human being, but shout out to him. He's a big baseball fan.
But shout out to him being a baseball fan, and he's a great actor.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Very unfortunate looking person, but... I mean,
and then I got one more that I want to throw out there too. We watched it more as teenagers and stuff, as Dazed and Confused. Me and Ryan.
Oh man,
we watched that movie all the time growing up as Dazed and Confused. Just the cast down. You got McConaughey, Ben Affleck, Jason London. Mm-hmm. You got Cole Hauser. That's Rip from Yellowstone.
Yep, shout to Rip.
Just so the soundtrack's so good to that movie. Dude, it's so my favorite Richard Linklater movie.
Yeah, and like my mom and dad graduated the year that they're saying that took place.
Yeah,
and they love that movie, and they've told me before about how eerie it is that they got so close to.
He hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah, to like capturing that.
And with that movie being based in the 70s, even growing up, you all had friends that related with each one of the characters.
No, for sure, movie. For sure. I've just got a couple left. One of the first experiences I remember seeing titties in a movie was when me and my buddy Worsham, shout out to my buddy Worsham, his dad let us watch Revenge of the Nerds 1.
Oh, wow.
And you talk about
just
because it came out in '84, but this was like
factor.
10 years later. It's probably 93, 94, probably 10. Because I'm a couple years older than Worsham.
But seeing some titties.
And he was like, yeah, that's fine. Just don't tell your parent, or what he was his parent.
Yeah.
He was like, Chad, don't tell your parents. And of course I didn't. But we watched every time I went over there. That's all I watched, because there's that whole like 10-minute scene where they're just spy camming.
Yeah,
which is so canceled.
Just like Porky's.
I mean, dude, like that humor back then, it was just sexual assault.
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, Porky's was a prime example of that.
So bad. But Revenge of the Nerds was great. But the last one I want to talk about, and then you still got one.
Terminator 2. I mean, that's going to be on everybody.
Oh, hell yeah,
Terminator 2 was just, you're just as an action fan as a kid, it's just because it came out in 92.
Yeah.
That's right in our wheelhouse. And my parents really didn't care if I watched rated R movies. Mm-hmm. They just said, just don't embarrass us when you're out in public.
Right.
You can watch whatever you want. Just don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Or talk like they do in the movies.
Or don't see Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can watch whatever you want. But yeah, watching Terminator 2 as a kid was just like,
yeah, dude.
mind blowing.
That's a classic. It's one of the best action movies
ever made.
Period. The last one I want to talk about before we end the podcast is Brain Scan. Brain Scan is the last one I want to talk about before we get out of here, just because I love the movie so much. Again, 94. Yeah. They came out in 94. Edward Furlong, who everybody probably knows Edward Furlong, maybe not from Brain Scan. Terminator 2. Which is crazy that you brought that up.
That's a perfect leeway.
And American History X.
Yep.
Which were great movies. Yep. Brain Scan, I just watched it like 3 days ago again. Yeah.
That's another one of those movies that ever since I've known you, you've always talked about Brain Scan. And when Scream Factory put it out on Blu-ray was the first time that I watched it and loved it.
Everything about it's dope, bro. Because like, not only for one, it's just a dope horror movie. The soundtrack to that movie is creepy as shit. Yep. It almost and fun fact that 3 6 Mafia, DJ Paul and Juicy J have sampled several
of the songs
of the songs from that soundtrack in their beats. And Edward Furlong's great in it, and
Trickster,
T. Ryder Smith is the Trickster, and it's just so dope. Like it's because it's back in the '90s, so it's like an interactive CD-ROM.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's dated, but like it still hits, and it's one of my favorite horror movies. But I felt like that was the best way for me to wrap up like the stuff that I grew up on.
That's a perfect way to end end this episode on, because like I said, I've covered everything that we could keep going.
Yeah, you got, but at some point you got to be like, well, because we covered a lot of ground on this episode, and I thought it turned out good.
And further down the road, we could have a part 2 installment of movies that we've watched. But yeah, man, what a time to be alive in the 80s and early 90s, dude.
Bro, I mean,
like you said, I think I agree with you. I think we're going to have to come back to 1994 as just a year.
When we get off camera and we're sitting there chilling before we leave, just look up 94 and just look at all the dope movies. I named off just comedy movies.
Yeah.
But like there's a ton of them we can definitely do. But y'all be sure to hit the comment section up. Let us know what you thought of the episode. What was the movies y'all grew up on? What y'all grew up watching? The next episode, do you want to talk about the next episode?
Yeah, since we ended it with a horror movie.
Yeah.
The next episode, we're finally going to delve into. We're both huge horror fans.
Right.
Horror is probably our favorite genre, other than comedies, probably.
Yeah, and it's the most popular thing on this channel
and everything,
because that's what most of the channel.
So the next episode, we're going to dive into a certain year of horror, and then we're going to delve into 1981 horror movies.
Yeah, dude, it's wild. Which I've talked about 6 or 7 years ago. I made a video about 81 horror movies, and it's the best year in horror movies to me.
Yeah.
But like, that's what we're going to talk about for the next episode. So y'all be sure to hit the comment section up. Let us know what y'all thought.
Yeah. Let us know some other ideas for episodes that we've had some people put in the comments, some stuff that they'd like to hear. So yeah, let us know. Follow us on social media, all that good stuff.
For sure, man. Y'all tap in.
Because we out this motherfucker.
Chatty Bobby 1130, Friday the 14th. Squint 615.
Executive produced by Squints 615.